Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the Photographer Academy. I'm Mark Cleghorn and welcome to Academy Live. Today we're talking about the elusive question, how to make money from boudoir photography. And during this next kind of 15-20 minutes, remember we're live so you can get questions in, but we're going to be discussing ways for you to identify kind of how it all works. We're live, so please get your questions in if you're joining us. Otherwise, you can kind of head over to the Photographer Academy and see a lot more of what we produce for photographers of all levels, whether kind of enthusiast or pro, semi-pro, whichever. We've just finished, in fact, a series called How to Start a Successful Boudoir Photography Business on the Academy. Plus, there is a 10 steps guide to starting a boudoir business. If you do join the Photographer Academy, it's only as little as £59 a year for a pro membership or £99 a year for business. I'm sure there's links below. But basically, we're there to actually encourage the semi-pro of today to actually move to earn some more money from their photography, as well as kind of encouraging the amateur to be much better than they are perhaps in real life and actually have that analysis. And remember, we do photo critiques each month, as well as loads of other things. Okay, what are we doing? There are going to be some numbers, so we're not just looking at pretty pictures. There's going to be the dreaded Excel sheet, and I promise you it will change your life, okay, as far as the understanding of what you can, if it's going to make you money or not with it and things really. So as far as this section of the business is concerned, we are getting a little bit serious now, because this is not really about booking models and shooting models. You'll pretty much not earn any money from photographing models. Some specialists will, some kind of top-end, high-end photographers, somebody who's kind of getting going, but basically shooting for actors and singers and so on, coming across as models. But as far as the boudoir photography is concerned, in the world of today, you're pretty much not going to earn money from model photography. You're going to earn money in boudoir photography from real women, from real clients. Why? Because obviously everybody's a photographer, even themselves, and you've only got to see that on Instagram nowadays and actually kind of ranking up their followings and everything else with it and things really. So as far as what we're talking about here is a certain kind of type of woman who may be attracted towards a session that is going to empower them for the kind of the creative good, as well as actually giving them a body confidence along the way with it and things. So for more than 30 years, we've kind of been shooting boudoir photography, and it's definitely changed, but there's never been a better time to do it. It's easier than ever before. It's trying to, as far as the business launch is concerned. So I'm trying to give you some basic guides today so you can kind of follow to ensure that you can make some money from your boudoir photography, whether as an enthusiast or as a pro. The kind of the biggest decision to make is, are you going to be shooting from a studio environment? If so, that's going to cost you money unless you're working from a converted garage or a room in your home. As a male photographer, yes, it's right, I am male, but there's no way I want to actually work in an upstairs kind of in a home premises. I would always want to work through a studio in the likes of Boudoir. Just escalates our kind of professionalism and everything else. But a professional premises alone, unless it's well kept and smells nice and warm, and basically they're greeted with a smile and fresh coffees or Pampers, champagne, whatever, then basically it doesn't matter where you work from. If it's a crap location, it's going to be a crap location, whether it's a business premises or a home. So let's not forget, you know, the boudoir photography starts with the experience, and that's really what they're going to remember, not just the great images at the end, but they're going to remember the day itself. So studio is obviously the number one choice for me. Why? Because obviously it's I can shoot more clients per day. But for you, if you're just getting going, you might not have that opportunity. So you might be thinking about you're going to shoot in the client's own home, or you're going to convert a part of your home into a studio as such really. Either or, they will give you some really kind of great ideas and difficulties as well. because obviously if you're setting up a temporary studio in your home each time, you're basically kind of de-rigging, rigging, de-rigging, rigging, and so on with it. Whereas you go into a client's home, you've got no idea what you're going to face. You could be in a pokey little small bedroom and that's it, with terrible kind of bedspreads and wallpapers and everything else with it and things really, and no light. The one thing I would say, that if you are faced with terrible bedspreads and wallpaper and everything else, turn it to black and white. Anything in black and white looks great. Well, most things in black and white looks great anyway. Then the other thing is going to be location. And what I mean by location is really working in venues that rent out a bedroom or a set-in or whatever it would be. And there's lots of kind of great boutique hotels, even some Airbnbs and everything else, which you could actually rent on a day-by-day basis to kind of create a bit of a business model for yourself and things really. But that goes without saying. I think you hear that on so many things on YouTube. I'm not trying to reiterate what everybody else does. I'm just trying to give you the real information. But 1, 2, 3 is you've got to make a decision where you're going and things. So I suppose this is the most difficult thing for many photographers to look at. It's the reality of how do I turn that kind of passion of the idea in photography into a business of some kind. So we've got to start to understand some basic elements within the business model and who our client is going to be. In this case, because it's boudoir photography, pretty much the majority of your boudoir is going to be a woman of different ages and everything else with it. And for the client who's going to spend the most money, probably it's going to be somebody who's 40 to 45 year old, going up to about a 60 to 65 year old. So that is who she is in age and so on. Obviously there's different age groups for different styles and everything else with it. There could even be couples, depends on the type of business that you're running and so on. Whatever is the service that you're planning to offer, write it down. You might be offering 2 services, so one with makeup, one without. In this case, we've got a basic here. We've put it where, so I've put it in studio or on location, i.e. a hotel. Remember, we're going to be paying for a hotel, so we need to kind of put that into all the costs involved and so on. When are you going to shoot? In this case, I put it to Tuesdays and Thursdays. We're talking, because we're going to hire a hotel suite, we need to shoot 4 in a day to make it really worthwhile. The looks are going to be a combination of classic, rock chick and confidential, or it could be one thing. And then we're going to be promoting it via Facebook offers, linked to a shop, through party planners and PR and brand development and things really, of course. I would say that if you're planning to run it from a home or a location, if you can have a suite instead of a bedroom, it allows you for the makeover to be going on in one room with all music playing while you're shooting in another room. So you can kind of have a little bit of a lap over a client, or when you build up to kind of that VIP session where it's basically a half-day shoot and there's a lot more pamper and glamour involved with it and so on. And then, of course, the viewing wise, in today's scenario with Zoom selling so easy to do, it would be great to actually do an instant sale on the day, and that's something obviously I would encourage if you're running a studio. Otherwise, if you're working on location or in the client's home, probably the likes of coming back for a viewing, or them coming to you if you have a viewing area in your home. Or of course you're going to do that likes of that Zoom. So there we go. In less than 9 minutes, we've explained what the boudoir business could be. Brandon, that's got to be a first. All right, so that's our thing. Yeah. We're going to go into products and pricing and a bit of selling. And if you want to know the ins and outs of it, I promise you on the Photographer Academy, we've got pretty much, as I said to you already, the 10-step the series in starting a boudoir business, plus some new films that we're creating now. In fact, the 10-step for boudoir only got going, I think, in November of 2020. There was some other boudoir business kind of training before that. But basically, there's loads and loads and loads. I don't know how many films there is on the boudoir topic anyway. So lots of training as far as getting going. And you know that's what we usually do in these live sessions. By the way, we had a model sick today, so hence we're having to actually bring this live session a couple of weeks ahead of time. So anyway, back next week with a shoot though, with amazing Anna. Right, what are we doing? Let's do the dreaded, all right? I'm sorry, but we're gonna head across into the Excel. And to do the Excel, basically, let me just bring it up on screen. There we go. And we're going to be looking at the dreaded figures. So I would say, I kind of, this is the standard kind of roadmap business thing that I usually give to all my experienced group of photographers, how we get to understand exactly what their business is, what it's going to be, and what the developments are. So we can kind of start to look at all the things that we need to put in place to make the kind of the numbers work. Because at the end of the day, if it's a numbers game, we've got to make things work. And as a photographer, when I'm a hobbyist, I'm doing one thing. When I'm a professional, I've got to do another. So I've got to make sure that all the little ducks are in a row and they're basically going to end up that I'm going to basically make some money. Otherwise, I can't use the word professional as far as in the terms of financial. I can always use the word professional in the way that I conduct myself, of course, that goes without saying. But in the world of professional, I'm referring to monetary value at this point. So I've basically just created a new little kind of funky Excel looking page just for the video, all right? But realistically, you'll have to hide me for a minute, Brandon, but we usually look like this. So in other words, we usually have this huge big kind of sheet with loads of different kind of things through lead generation, diary planning, week planners, and blah, 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 and things really. But just to make it nice and easy today, because we haven't got time to go through it all, we're just going through this kind of how to make money from your boudoir photography. And I've created 3 basic columns, and I'm not a whiz on Excel. It's basically all self-taught stuff, as many of you would laugh at if you watch some of my business trading. But I find as a business owner since 1986, with different businesses to myself, different businesses, in other words, not just photography, but man and boy, I am a photographer. And basically, we need to make sure that the numbers work. If the numbers don't work, then basically we've got to go and get a job. So, the first thing that we need to look at is some kind of quick equation to kind of see how it all works together. And if we talk about a normal year, not a COVID lockdown year, wherever we are in the world, we'll usually have 48 weeks to do a business. That allows you kind of a month off during the course of the year. Some people work on a 46 or a 44 week. A lifestyle business would pretty much put a 42-week business plan in there, but hey-ho, I'm working at 48 for now. So if you are an amateur photographer and you're looking to basically shoot on your day off, and you want to kind of keep the hobby a hobby but earn a little bit of money from it, and if we kind of looked at it throughout the year, if we had a desired average, so that is what all the sales combined together divided by the total amount of sessions. So if we did 100 sessions and we turned over 100 grand, it will give us an average of £1,000, okay? And all the divisions of that. But that includes anybody in the no sales or the low sales or whatever it is. So we need to make sure that we're doing that. So just as far as you're aware, whenever we talk about the average, it includes all the no and the low sales and includes obviously the very high sales as well. So if you are a photographer and you work in your own home at this point, I think this is where it makes sense. So I wouldn't say that you should be hiring a hotel room or anything else. You should be either working in a client's home or you should be working in a converted space, unless you've got a very, very good local hotel that has a room that they're willing to rent an afternoon off with, and it's low enough so you can make a little bit of money from your passion of photography, but it's really not a business at this point. So if you were kind of, let's kind of make it more realistic. Let's put it into 300 quid. And then the reality is that you're going to turn over in a normal year 14 grand. Okay, I know this is saying in pounds, but you can obviously convert it into whatever currency you are in the world, and obviously adjust it slightly to do with the average wages and so on. But if we're looking at that, the kind of the simple equation works for us. I would say that if we kept to the same average desired, but you were looking at creating, say, 2 sessions per day, and you were doing 2 days per week, and we're doing it same for the 48 weeks of the year, you've got a business here that is really, it's 57.5 grand at that point. Pretty much you're earning some good cash here. Okay, obviously by the time you pay for whatever you rent off, by the time you basically pay off if you're having a makeover artist or whatever it is, there's some money in it for you. Remember, at this present time we're talking about a keen photographer who's earning a little bit on their passion as such, really. So that starts to make a little bit more of a business sense. If we kind of really look at the kind of moving through in the pro level, we would basically start to look more at a much higher average. We'd be looking around about the £500 average is the desired. The achievable might be somewhere around 450, 460, whatever. If you are still this kind of semi-pro photographer, I would say you're really at that kind of pro level now. You're hiring a nice boutique hotel room. You're shooting pretty much all the time. You've got a makeup artist in there doing your job. You've enhanced your experience and so on with it. Pretty much you'd have to get to around about 3.5 shoots a day. You'd be shooting, I would say, a minimum of 1 day per week. In fact, I would choose that to the 4 shoots in a day then. Shoot 1 day per week. Notice though, at this point, the only thing that's going to change is the actual, so the money is increased, but in fact, we're still doing the same shoot number as we can see down here. So as it kind of looks, 500 desired average, 4 shoots a day, just shooting 1 day per week. So you've got the second day of your day off to actually be doing the viewings in the night times and finishing and so on. We'll work in the full 48 weeks of the year. You're into a really good salary at this point. If we were translating this to the full roadmap, 500 for 148 gives us exactly the same kind of figures as you can see, yeah. But then from here we can start to actually work out the cost of a social lead. So this might be somewhere around £5 compared to a family, which is about £2.25, compared to a baby lead, which is around about 75 pence. So again, different things cost us more money, but because the boudoir photography is more of a niche photography business, it's going to cost us more in marketing. But as far as what we're looking at here is what you'll need to actually then translate through into going through the kind of the other business development that we have. Remember, on the Photographer Academy, we have a business content each week. So there's absolutely huge. We've been going for 13 years, so you don't hang around for fun of it. So you can kind of basically go in and actually kind of really look at how you kind of really look and use these images and how they translate to your life, the lifestyle. I pretty much teach 3 styles of business development. That is a lifestyle business that's basically just you. You're not looking really to have any staff, probably up to around about 5 to 8 sessions per week. Then we do a 1+1, so that would be 1 plus an administrator. This is in the experience group, I really talk about this more. One plus an administrator, or 1 plus a sales, or 1 plus somebody else anyway, even if they're part-time. And then I do a bigger business model, which is the 2+2+2. So in other words, that works on kind of 2 photographers, 2 sales room, and then basically an assistant and administrator within it, or 2 administrators. So there's 3 different kind of key business models that I kind of really develop businesses into. So when we come back into the roadmap here, when you start to really look at this, You can then say, well, okay, we're going to translate that into now 5 days a week. We know we've got an average running at 475, let's say. And then we'll look at a business now just short of £500,000. And then as far as how much money we need to spend on social media, depends on how much other work we're doing outside it. But these are what these kind of planners are really designed for. And as we scroll through a roadmap, we start to break it down more as far as the kind of the photographers and viewers and blah, blah, blah of what we'll actually need to create the real business plan that we need. But as I said, I stripped it all back for you, so at least you can get an idea on here of kind of where it would work. So if you were looking at, say, you were just going to be a digital sales, let's turn this second column into, let's do the, second column into digital sales for a minute, just before we take questions. 200 quid, let's say, yeah. I believe so many photographers are undervaluing the digital product to begin with. You have to set a high value to a digital, and I'm not on about 200 quid here for a set of images, all right? But I'm just doing this, I'm playing a game with you at this point, all right? But I don't feel that enough pro and semi-pro photographers are valuing that digital anywhere near as much as it should be. You should really have a real worth. For me, a set of digital images would be in excess of £1,000 because it's got to be worth my while and so on with it. Anyway, if you're doing a 200 average on digital, let's say with it, you'd have to do something like your 4 shoots or 3 shoots in a day. I reckon if you're working in clients' homes, you could only do 2, so we'll keep it there. You'd have to do the 2 days a week. And then basically at 48 weeks in a year, you're pretty much going to be bringing in about 38 grand. So that's not a bad part-time wage income. You obviously got to pay tax on that and so on with it. But at that point, with a digital product sale, you're earning a lot more cash than selling a product as such. If the difference is you're doing £300, okay, and the only difference is you're including a product within here, then I would say you need to really raise this product to at least the product cost times 3, 4 or 5. So if the product cost was costing you £50, you would really need to actually times it by at least 3. So in that case, this should look like 350 to really be worthwhile selling a product. And then as far as the kind of the shoot rate, you can see, funny enough, what we've done across here. We've got to about 192 sessions for the year. However, if you're a photographer who's looking to do something, perhaps you're a wedding photographer, you needed to add this into this year because your weddings have been shot because of COVID and blah, blah, blah with it and things really, or you're looking to change the business in a slightly different direction, you're looking to add in a boudoir day instead of, so if you have a wedding on a Saturday, you have a boudoir day on a Sunday. If you haven't got a wedding on a Saturday, then you do a boudoir day, whatever it would be and things, okay? So at this case, you can start to actually fill in the blanks and start to earn some decent money as well, all right? But start to think about how it kind of really comes into the mix. And then what we'd usually do is just go into the week planner. Let's just zero rate that for a minute. Okay, then you would just go into the week planner and you would go and say, okay, my Saturday average is my 475. I'm doing studio based from a converted room in a whatever or a hotel suite. I'm doing 3 or 4 of those in a day, so I can bring in that amount per day with it. All of a sudden, a lot of wedding photographers that I know start to really think, going, do I really want to do the weddings then many more, yeah? Anyway, going back to what I was going to say in this kind of part. So I think we said there was 25 weeks, was there, between now and Christmas, working weeks, yeah? So if we change this now to 25 weeks, we're looking that if we shot for that photographer, who is replacing his wedding, so the days without weddings, as it were, and they can shoot 4 in a day, and they've only got 1 day or 1 weekend free. Pretty much that photographer, I would say, if you've got a studio premises with just a digital product sale, pretty much you're bringing in a 350 average there, then we can pretty much see that we're kind of generating ourselves around about 35 grand's worth of income for just actually that 1 day per week up until now, until Christmas as such really. So I know there's a lot to kind of really take in there and things, but we've got to really start to look at how it kind of works out in the mix. I talked about products. Obviously, things like boxes of prints with USB and digital files is one. Another would be a wall product. Most boudoir clients, probably 95% of boudoir clients, do not buy a big boudoir image for the wall unless it's included in some kind of package or collection. And then as far as all the main thing you've got to do is I would say convert to online viewings. They're going to hit a slightly lower average unless you're really rehearsed in in-person sales. A Zoom sale will pretty much slightly hit a lower average for you, especially in the early days, until you start to perfect your kind of sales skills and everything else with it. That's us, Brandon.
Yeah,
any questions there at all?
Yeah. So with digital sales, would you incorporate videography content as a upsell?
Video slideshow. So would I, with digital sales, would I include video as an upsell? I'm not really a videographer. That's why we got a him. All right, and I don't want to create any more work for myself that takes me more skill sets. I'm a photographer, so I'll use Animoto to actually put the images in, and that's how the client would actually start the viewing off with, to actually really see those images. And then as far as video is concerned, I wouldn't pretty much add it in. I could see how you might want to do sweeps and you know, kind of curves and zooms and over the top and blah, blah, blah stuff. I'm a photographer, I'm selling images, yeah? What are they looking to do with their video? YouTube or basically Instagram. And if you're going to add an Instagram package in with it, that's a different thing altogether, but that's another skill set. Okay, no more questions coming through. Look guys, thanks for joining us live. I'm sorry that our model today was sick. She's not coming back. I promise you, she's failed twice now to actually arrive, so that is it. So we've just done a session today about booking models on the Academy, and it wasn't inspired by that, but I've got a whole day of basically me and camera because I haven't got a model here to shoot and things really. So we haven't kind of picked on her, but we've used it as an excuse of topics to actually cover requests from you. Look, join the Photographer Academy. We're an online training resource for photographers. We've got over 3,000 films available today, all ad free. We've got some great trade partners where you get some discounts, some offers as well if you want to take that up with. Pretty much as far as the membership level is concerned, Pro gives you pretty much everything excluding the business topics, and obviously business membership gives you everything on the whole site and things really. So 59 quid for the year as far as the Pro is concerned. It's £99 for the year as far as business is concerned, and the benefit basically that they're almost both half price. So you usually pay £99 for Pro and usually pay £199 for business. But in 2021, because of all the COVID and everything else, we've kept our offer running to help everybody out. That's me done, Brandon. I've just got some images on screen, so I'm not sure if you want me to quickly flick through them because we weren't doing any photography. I kind of picked a session that is done in a hotel room. You can go and watch this shoot, in fact, on the Academy as well with it. I'm not sure if it's on our YouTube channel. This is Rebecca, great woman. We photographed her several times now, including her with a little girl. And again, it just kind of gives you an idea of shooting natural light in a hotel room. Gives you some great ideas. It's a part of almost a confidential session, but it's not. It's basically a little bit more kind of sensual kind of imagery and things really. But yeah, great shoot. Love the time of the day where the sunlight was coming through. We did take some kind of LED lights with us in case and things really, but basically I just wanted to show you some images as well. Hope you've enjoyed this, how to make money from your boudoir photography. I'll see you in the next live.